How's it going, guys? I got round 3 of the tournament today against the guy by the name of Tapin, something like that. It's in the title. But I figured I'd switch it up and use my second team for this one because I decided that the first one was getting a little old. I don't know if people are leaking information or anything like that. And I like this team too. This team was arguably the better one of the two, but I was more comfortable with the first one I was using for the first couple games. And there's that. So there's that little explanation. Got Specs Raikou, Banded Crobat, and got some other dudes, Stealth Rocker, Spinner, and then 2 other dudes because why the hell not? I think it worked out okay. And looking at his team, he has a bunch of Stealth Rock weak pokes, but no Spinner. So the sooner I can get him up, the better it's going to be for me, because the more switches I can force, the more passive damage I'm going to rack up. And before you know it, it's going to end up being my game if I can get him up quick enough. So I'm going to go and lead off with Raikou because I don't see any ground types. I'm going to be free to go for the Volt Switch and go out into something appropriate while getting off a pretty hefty chunk of damage. I just want to get out of there because I don't want to get T-Waved or Toxic or anything like that. If you want to go for the Stealth Rock too, that's fine. But I'm going to go into my Gligar, the Gligar kind. Where the fuck are you, Scott? We miss you. Come back to Wi-Fi battling. Holy shit. Okay. I think he goes out to Bronzong on the turn that I actually decided to set up my Stealth Rock, and this is what's really going to go ahead and make the game easier for me. I don't care if he, it turns out that this Bronzong is actually a dual screener, which I don't see as often, I guess, but to be honest, I wasn't really expecting it, and also, to be honest, I really don't care about the screens, to be honest, because I think I said to be honest a lot, but I'm being honest. Like, I really don't care about the screens. As long as I can force enough switches and get enough damage racking up, I should be okay. So just switch out to something that threatens it out, even with the screen boost, and then just kind of go from there. So go for an Ice Beam. I don't really know what I was predicting. I was just like, I'm gonna fucking go for a random Ice Beam, maybe get a random Freeze. If not, whatever, that's fine. So as you can see, that does next to nothing. I kind of want to say that was like 5 damage, but I'm going to go back out into my Gligar because I know it's immune to 2 very common moves on Registeel, which are actually going to end up being T-Wave and Toxic. You know, Toxic because of the Dream World ability immunity, and T-Wave because ground typing. So I'm going to go for an Earthquake. As you can see with the screens up, it's really not doing that much. But I do have the better matchup here in that I actually have the potential to crit him, and his one offensive move is a set 100 damage. Because I've got, you know, a decent amount of HP, I can go ahead and roost when I see fit. And before you know it, he's going to end up getting forced out, decides to go into his Zapdos. He does it way sooner than later. I decide that's okay. That matchup was a slow and tedious one anyway. But my only offensive move, I believe, is Earthquake. I am going to go ahead and scout for the HP Ice right now and decide to go into my Raikou in case he wants to predict it and, you know, get very aggressive and go for the Volt Switch, whatever, that's fine. I just don't want my Gligar taking an HP Ice this early in the game. He goes for Hidden Power. I don't know what it is. It is neutral on Raikou. It wouldn't be like fucking HP Ground or whatever. And it turns out that he's Life Orb and stuff, so there's that. Earlier on, like, I think you guys have seen me use this Raikou before. It had a little bit of HP investment, and Chase pointed that out to me. And he was right that it was a different spread. I just got a different Raikou and slapped specs on it. That's not how it fucking works out. I took off all the HP investment, and it didn't even have any. It didn't have max and spec attack either, which is actually going to go ahead and explain why it has such a high damage output now as opposed to earlier when it was. I think it missed out on a couple kills that I myself was kind of surprised on. But now that I've maxed out the spec attack and stuff, I'm actually a big fan of Specs Raikou. So there you go. Takes out the Zapdos after the light screen wears off. I want to stay in and go for another T-Bolt because I don't want him setting up screens again. It's not bothering me that much, but later on in the game, if I start to run low on HP or pokes or things like that, then it could get, you know, kind of annoying. So it turns out he has Earthquake. He reveals it now, and I live it on 3. So this could actually prove to maybe save the game later, or to like be useful death fodder. I haven't really decided what I want to do with it yet. But versus Arcanine, you know, with the extreme speed being oh so popular on them, I'm gonna go ahead and switch out into my Gligar and just go ahead and take whatever the hell he wants to go for and end up forcing him out. So these are the kind of switches I was talking about forcing, because Arcanine really can't do a whole hell of a lot to Gligar. I mean, he probably maybe could have taken me out with a Flare Blitz from here, but I guess he really just didn't want to risk it. Decides to go back out, or not back out, decides to go into Honchkrow for the first time. Now, the one thing I was really scared of was a subset. Oh my lord, that would have been terrifying if he was a subset. But it turns out that he's not, and if he is, he just didn't do it because he goes for the Night Slash, ends up not really doing anything. I'm gonna go for the Taunt. Even though I'm slower, I just don't want him like subbing again, that kind of stuff. And see, it ends up forcing out his physical attackers again and again and again. And Registeel is probably the hardest motherfucker in this entire game to take out. I believe I speed up a part like very obscenely either now or like in the next couple turns. I forget. But it's Blastoise versus Registeel for the longest time. And I'm just sitting in here just hitting it, but I guess it's not now, so whatever. Decide to go back out into Gligar just to try to go for some Earthquake, some stuff like that, and it turns out, you know, he ends up going for Thunder Wave. I don't care. I'm immune to 2 of the most common statuses on that 2 of the only statuses. Hello? Okay. Switches out, decides to go back out into Honchkrow. I believe I went for an Earthquake or a Roost. I feel like yeah, okay, I went for an Earthquake just to try to get some damage on Registeel, that kind of thing. But he ends up switching out, and as you can see, I haven't even hit the Honchkrow with anything, and it's at half HP. Chandelure comes back in. I guess he predicted me to go for a Roost on this one, you know, because of the amount of HP I'm at, and, you know, Honchkrow being in, I could safely go ahead and Roost, even with a Night/Crit or whatever. But I make a huge misplay right here. Just for whatever reason, I was like, oh, okay, you know, I should be okay to stay in against this thing. And in most situations, I wouldn't be, especially if it's got the HP Ice. So I lose out on this thing. But I'm getting the vibe that he's choiced. So I'm just going to go ahead and go into Blastoise. I kind of feel like 9 out of 10 times I would force him out anyways because of the amount of HP I'm at. He's not going to risk going for the Energy Ball and taking a Torrent boosted Scald, that kind of thing. But here we have that long-ass matchup I was talking about earlier. It was only a matter of time. But I spin away the rocks to keep setting them up, whatever. I really want to get the Scald Burn so I can at least have that going for me. Get it now, which is nice. As long as I can Rapid Spin, go back into Raikou, that'll be a nice pivot switch if he decides not to. If he decides to attack me, it'll be a good pivot switch. If not, I can get off a nice chunk of damage. I think I try to go for it now. So, go in, Stealth Rocks aren't up, but I think he predicted that and went for the Seismic Toss. I'm perfectly okay with that, because I get to go out into my Ambipom. I thought he was going to expect a low kick, which is why I went for the U-turn, decided to go back out into Blastoise, because I was like, shit, I don't want anything else to take anything. But, either he didn't really expect low kick, or he thought he could live it, whatever. I don't know. But going back to the game, I get a crit on the Scald. Don't really think it mattered too much. We both just kind of looked up from the table and was like, we just saved a turn. That's fine. So kind of a chill little moment in the tournament there, because it was really obvious that he really wasn't going to end up winning that matchup. And I kind of feel like, in a way, that crit did matter, because I think he ends up going for a Wild Charge now, and I live with the amount that I would have lost from Poison on the turn that I saved. So maybe kind of splitting hairs, but I kind of feel like this whole thing could have gone down a different route had that not happened, because as you can see, I do live it with that amount, and I'm actually going to go ahead and be able to fire off a Scald. I think I end up dying from the Poison on this turn, but I would have died from it a turn later, so there's that. I don't know, just a talking point. I forget what happens, but it is a double down. So he's going to go into his Honchkrow, and I'm going to go into my Crobat. Now, the thing that surprised me is he either doesn't have Sucker Punch or didn't go for it, because I just kind of killed off with a Brave Bird. I kind of feel like residual damage from Arcanine with the, well, not residual, I guess, but the Extreme Speed, and then whatever the Chandelure wants to go for. I think he told me he was Scarf, but for some reason, he doesn't end up outspeed. Neither of his pokes end up touching this thing, and Banded Crobat just kind of cleans up the game in an awkward, somewhat unfulfilling way. I was like, well, that was interesting. I was like, okay, I had the hardest time taking out Registeel, and then the rest of it was just like Stealth Rocks damage and just anticlimactic shit. I don't know. I still had a lot of fun with it though, and hope you guys enjoyed it too. If you did, you're welcome to leave a like rating, comment, subscribe, do your thing. Just to let you guys know, I am actually narrating this from my laptop now, so rendering times are going to be a little bit longer. I've already got the computer all packed up and stuff like that, so if I narrate, it's going to be from here, and just know that it takes a little bit more resources to be able to do that. As a direct result, I can't really record TCGO until you know, I get access to the desktop again, because that uses up a lot of RAM that my computer does not have available, and just some other stuff. So we're gonna have to hold off on TCGO, unfortunately. I got LP episodes all good to go. I can still narrate. It'll take a long time to render, but I am willing to do that. And I do have a couple more games backed up, so that's not to say that we're gonna be completely dry just yet. Anyways, it does promise on my end to be somewhat of a busy week, next 2 weeks. So if there's a gap somewhere, like in the next couple days, don't freak out. It probably means that I didn't get the time to do it, because it's gonna be busy. But for now, I got this game, had time to do it, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, because I'm out, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.